Let me ask you something that most business owners have never honestly answered. If you disappeared tomorrow, not forever, just for 90 days, what happens to your business? Does it keep running? Does revenue keep coming in? Does your team know what to do? Or does it fall apart in week one? Here is the uncomfortable truth. For most small business owners, the answer is it falls apart, and they know it. And they have been quietly avoiding that conversation with themselves because the answer is too uncomfortable to sit with. Today, we are not avoiding it. Today, we are going to run a test, a real one. And by the end of this episode, you are going to know exactly whether your business can survive without you and what to do if the answer right now is no. Before we get into it, if you are building a business, leading a team, or trying to build something that does not collapse the second you step away, subscribe right now. This show is not theory. It is not motivation. It is operator thinking, how businesses actually work when the cameras are off. Welcome to Notebook of a COO. There is a conversation happening in the business world right now that every operator needs to be paying attention to. On one side, you have AI, automation, the ability to systematize your business in ways that used to require an entire team. On the other side, you have the acquisition and exit conversation. The people who win in that world, the businesses that actually get bought, that actually command real valuations, they all have one thing in common. They can run without the owner. A business that requires you to be present every single day to function, that is not a business, that is a job. And jobs do not get acquired. Jobs do not get sold for multiples. Jobs do not create legacy. So whether you want to sell your business someday, step back from the day-to-day, or just take a 2-week vacation without your phone blowing up, the question is the same. Can your business survive without you? Let's find out. Here is where most operators get stuck. They have built something real. They have clients, revenue, a team, maybe even a brand. And on the outside, it looks like a business. But on the inside, it is a house of cards that only stays standing because they show up every single day and hold it together. And the cruel irony is, the harder you have worked, the more likely you are to be the problem. Because the operators who care the most tend to centralize the most. Every decision runs through them. Every client relationship lives in their head. Every process exists because they personally figured it out and never wrote it down. You did not build a business. You built a very demanding, very expensive job that you cannot quit. Drop a comment right now if that hits somewhere, because I've talked to hundreds of operators, and this is one of the most common things I hear. I built this thing, but I feel trapped inside it. That is not a character flaw. That is what happens when you build for survival instead of building for scale. And the fix is not working harder. It is building differently. I call this the Owner Independence Audit. 5 questions, 5 categories, and your honest answers will tell you exactly where you stand. Number 1, the revenue test. Does money come in when you are not selling? This is the first and most important question. If you stop selling tomorrow, stop making calls, stop taking meetings, stop doing demos, how long before revenue stops? For a lot of operators, the answer is 1 or 2 weeks, maybe less. That tells you your revenue is tied to your personal activity. And personal activity is not a business model. It is a dependency. The operators whose businesses can survive without them have built what I call a lead engine, something that generates interest, nurtures prospects, and converts them without the owner being in the room for every step. That might be a referral system. It might be content that drives inbound. It might be a sales team or a trained closer. It might be AI-powered follow-up sequences that do the work while you sleep. But something has to be generating revenue that does not require your personal effort every single time. Ask yourself, if I took a month off, would any new client sign on? If the honest answer is no, that is your starting point. Number 2, the knowledge test. Is your business in your head or in a system? Question 2. Right now, think about the 5 things that only you know how to do in your business. Maybe it is how you price a project. Maybe it is how you handle a difficult client. Maybe it is where you find your best vendors, or how you run your team meetings, or what your onboarding actually looks like behind the scenes. Now ask yourself, if you disappeared, would anyone else know how to do any of that? If the answer is no, your business is running on tribal knowledge, and tribal knowledge dies when the tribe of one leaves the building. This is one of the fastest things AI can help you fix right now, by the way. If you have been sleeping on AI as a documentation tool, this is the use case that matters most for operators at your stage. You can talk through your processes out loud, have them drafted into SOPs in real time, and suddenly the thing that lived only in your head is now living in a system. But whether you use AI or a notebook, the goal is the same. Your business has to be able to run on documented process, not on your personal memory. Number 3, the team test. Does your team need you to make decisions? Drop a comment if this one sounds familiar. You step away for 2 days and you come back to a queue of messages, approvals waiting, questions nobody could answer without you. That is not a team problem. That is a delegation problem, and it is usually rooted in 2 things. Your team does not have the authority to act, and they do not have the clarity to act even if they did. Real operator leverage looks like this. Your team knows what good looks like without having to ask you. They have clear decision rights. They know what they can handle, what needs to be escalated, and what the standard is for each. That only happens when you have built decision trees, defined roles with real accountability, and given people the room to actually do their jobs. If every important decision still runs through you, you are not a leader. You are a bottleneck, and bottlenecks do not scale. Number 4, the client test. Are your client relationships yours or the business's? This one is especially important if you are thinking about an exit someday. When a business gets acquired, buyers look at what is called customer concentration and relationship risk, which basically means, do clients stay because they love the business or do they stay because they love the owner? If your top 5 clients would follow you out the door if you sold the company, that is a serious problem for any buyer, and it is a warning sign for you too. The businesses that command real valuations have clients who are loyal to the brand, the system, and the experience, not just to one person. That does not mean you should not have great relationships with your clients. You absolutely should. It means the relationship has to be supported by a system, documented preferences, clear handoffs, a client experience that exists in process, not just in your personality. Number 5, the time test. What actually happens if you take 2 weeks off? This is the final question, and it is the simplest one to answer. Book 2 weeks off, completely off. No Slack, no email, no quick calls. What breaks? I mean this literally, not rhetorically. Actually sit down and map it out. Think through every function of your business and ask, who handles this? What is the process? What could go wrong? If you cannot even do that exercise without feeling your chest tighten, you have your answer. The businesses that can survive without their owner are the ones whose owners have already stress tested this on paper before they tested it in real life. They know exactly what breaks, and they have built systems to address each one before they step away. That is not luck. That is engineering. Here's your action for this week. No tool required, no consultant needed. Pick one of the 5 areas we just went through, the one where your answer scared you the most, and spend 1 hour this week writing down what currently exists and what is missing. Not fixing it, just auditing it. Clarity before action. 1 revenue question, 1 knowledge question, 1 team question, 1 client question, 1 time question. You do not have to fix everything at once. You just have to know what you are working with. Because here's what I want you to walk away with today. A business that cannot survive without you is not finished. It is just not built yet. And every operator who has ever built something sellable, scalable, or simply sustainable started exactly where you are right now. They just stopped pretending the problem was not there. That is the real difference. Not talent, not luck, not timing, clarity, and the willingness to build. If this episode gave you something you needed to hear, do one thing. Share it with another operator in your life. Not because I need the numbers, because there is someone you know right now who is grinding inside a business that owns them, and they have not figured out why yet. This is that conversation. And if you want a structured path to actually building this kind of business, the frameworks, the assessments, the operator training, that is exactly what we have built at Notebook of a COO. Link is in the description. Subscribe if you have not already. Leave a comment telling me which of the 5 tests your business failed. I read every single one. Wherever you are, that is exactly where you are supposed to be. But that does not mean you have to stay there. Until next time.